Greetings, fellow crossover fans. Stiff here. I wanted to inform you that this week's episode was plagued with some technical difficulties, unfortunately. We obviously want to deliver a product without errors of this nature, but sometimes it is out of our control. I mean, how are we supposed to prevent ChatGPT from stealing Hosh's Wi-Fi? And who knew that ChatGPT was the true hobby disruptor? But anyways, our hosts heroically marched on, so there's still an episode this week, and we appreciate your patience and understanding in these difficult Wi-Fi times. Any and all thoughts and prayers are greatly appreciated. Thanks. Now enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Crossover. Starring Josh Johnson and Chris McGill. Featuring Christina Thorson. And of course, you, the Instagram live chat. Now, sit back and enjoy this week's edition of The Crossover. Powered by Card Ladder.
What?
You just throw your phone off the dock. Oh, that's better now. There we go.
Oh, okay.
It's clear now.
Good. All right. Oh, okay, lights, camera. I see you.
How do you change the title?
Too late. Too late. You have to put the title in before you go live, or at least that's how I do it.
Well. Oh, well.
Oh, well. Now Josh has to be the head on top that is not covered by text. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mike Pinkerton. All right. Well, fourth time's the charm. We actually probably had the most questions in crossover history today. So
fourth.
Today to dig ourselves into a 10-minute hole.
Perfect.
Mail dates. You may have one or two. I have none.
Well, that's because you're a loser. Let's see here. 2009 Topps Chrome Gold, finally, PSA 9. This is not a good setup for mail days. That's all right. And then 2004 Finest. Gold out of 15. And you guys were making fun of me for looking at all my cards. That's why I was late. You'd be right.
Each of those completes the Topps Chrome Gold run and the Topps Finest Gold run.
Yes. I've been told I do not have the Finest because I'm missing the O2 XRC. But, you know, too bad.
Okay.
I mean, but it's your collection, so you get to decide what the run is?
No, you don't.
Yeah, I just call it like the Finest Gold playing years run. It's like very specific.
Okay, that's a distinction you can make.
Yeah, like an XRC, really?
Well, Christina's setting herself up so she can say she has the rainbow even though she doesn't have the neon green.
Yeah, I mean, the green doesn't even make sense. Like, there's no green, you know. Doesn't make sense.
Greens actually fuck faces. I just don't have this one fast break. And I'm not going to say I have the rainbow until the rainbow's complete.
Yeah, that's all
Yeah.
we're saying.
Yeah, you're basically a failure until you have it.
Yep, that's big failure. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah.
So, will you ever go after the O2 XRC?
No, dude, it's like $100,000 card, and I don't like it.
That's two strikes against it.
I have this weird thing about myself where I don't like to spend $100,000 on things I don't like. It's just like a weird thing.
Oh, God.
Sounds pretty weird, actually. Why would you want to do that?
All right. Announcements. Do we have any card letter announcements to make?
Yes. We added Golden Marketplace sales to our sales history and our ladder.
We did. We sure did. Golden's fixed price marketplace. In addition to, I guess my connection's still not coming in good, but what are you going to do? There's nothing we can do. Okay. So, Golden's fixed price marketplace and their weekly auctions in addition to the Golden Elite auctions are all in card ladder sales history in the ladder.
Yes.
Yes, they are. So, sounds awesome. All right. So many questions this week. A lot of investment-related questions this week. So,
Of course. People watch this show. They know we love that topic.
there's just a lot. It was like a weird uptick. Maybe we're like cycling through a new batch of audience members.
Oh, that's true. Like, yeah, that makes sense.
So, okay. So, let's go through questions, and maybe we'll try and rapid fire so we can get to as many of them as possible. So, first question comes from No Shimmer. He says, if Brock Purdy wins Super Bowl MVP, where does Trey Lance end up next season?
It kind of seems like Trey Lance is going to be somewhere else next season, even if they don't win the Super Bowl, right?
I guess. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how serious of a question that was, but I was just figuring this was the only NFL question we got. I just figured maybe we can springboard this into a quick discussion of Conference Championship weekend and make a few picks.
I feel like I haven't heard a lot of people talking about football. I've been like listening to all the podcasts I can, getting ready for this weekend. I'm excited.
Right.
Are we making our picks? I was 0-4 last week, so can't get any worse, right?
Good or bad?
That's bad. That's like Bill Simmons level.
But you were 100% wrong, so like you did.
He said that's Bill Simmons level. Damn.
So you could just start fading me. Fade me with your bets.
Well, let's see if you can keep the streak alive. What do you got?
Okay, let's see. The Eagles were pretty good last week. I can't see them losing. They just look so good. So I'll pick the Eagles. I'm sure Lefko and Luber and everyone's going to be really happy about that. And then on the other side, I don't know, that Mahomes injury kind of seems real, and the Bengals kind of looked unstoppable. I'll take the Bengals.
Okay. You weren't convinced when Mahomes came out and trotted around the field for a little while that
I mean, the best drive they had all game was when Chad Henne was in the game.
That's very true. Very true. Blessing in disguise. Okay. So I might as well take the other side of both because they're both pretty even games from Vegas' point of view. So give me the Chiefs at home, who are back to being favorites ever since the Mahomes footage came out. And then give me the Niners because I'll be rooting for them anyway.
I'll flip the baby. I'll take the Niners and the Bengals.
And Christina wants Niners and Bengals. All right. Sounds good. We'll see what happens. Okay. So Sasha P. Cards would like to know, will Josh be officially announcing his pursuit of the LeBron Prism Gold run on tonight's show?
No. The 2012 Gold is like such a non-starter for going down that path. It's like, I know I need that one, and it's just like, ugh, it'd be so impossible to get that card.
Right. Fair enough.
I almost had one of those once. Did I tell you that?
No.
Someone sent
What happened with that?
Someone sent me a picture of it raw at a show like 4 years ago, and I was like, "What's the price? Just tell me, I'll buy it. I don't care." And they were like, "I think he's only asking $5,000." I was like, "Buy it," and then he was like, "Oh, sorry, I sold to somebody else." And I was like, "Gotta be kidding me."
Oh, what? That's terrible. In card letter, we've got 4 sales ever of the 2012 Prism Gold. 2012, 2013, and 2014, basically 10 years ago. And then one sold with Golden last April. And then they haven't been seen since.
I know where like 6 of them are. I know one person. There's 3 of them.
Oh my God.
It's just freaky.
Yeah.
And then
that guy needs to come up off a few of those.
Nat bought the newest one.
Oh, okay. Speak of Nat, there he is. What's up, Nat? Request to join, Nat.
Then we can really fuck up your Wi-Fi.
Nat, we need you to upgrade my internet, man. What can you do? You help us out.
You guys have pretty fast internet when I was there. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, we do. We usually do have good internet. Okay, so no Prism Gold run for Josh. He's content with the finest gold and the top scrum gold runs.
I might go for Bowman though, because the hardest one is the rookie, but I'm only like 3 away from Bowman.
Okay. That would be okay. So you're 3 away. Which 3 do you need which 2 besides the rookie?
The rookie, I think it's like the 06 and the 08 or something.
Okay. That'd be pretty cool. Then you have Bowman, Top Scrum, and Finest.
Yeah.
Thanks, Carvin. 8th person to make that joke, so the content has landed.
And I'm like halfway kind of committed to going for all the exquisite LeBrons and PSA slabs.
Ooh. All of the exquisite LeBrons?
There's a lot. I think I only have 5, and I don't have the RPA, so.
Okay.
But that would be pretty neat. I think that's like a super long term. Like I sort of just I pick those off like once every year or so. Like they're hard. They're kind of hard. I'm picky about the grade and the auto and stuff, so I like take my time with that one.
Fair. So, where's this? There's like a set completionist vibe here. Where's this coming from?
Is this like a set? Would you consider these to be sets?
No, not sets, but there's something more than randomness to this, right? Like there's like a theory, a unifying theory behind each of these. Like all the Bowman golds from playing years, the finest gold playing years. I just don't know if you've ever. Maybe I just don't know. I've never heard you collect from that vantage point, and I'm wondering why.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly wouldn't do this for exquisite because there's a bunch of exquisites that I don't like. Like I don't like any of the ones out of 100, and I don't like some of the there's random ones I don't like. I don't like that. I just kind of make it up as I go. But with this gold, I just got so close that I was like, damn, I'm like 2 away. I should just finish this shit.
Yeah.
I feel like we haven't talked every couple months, maybe 6 months with Josh. He started he got back in the hobby because he wanted to complete the Pokemon set.
Right.
So he's always been a set collector. He just deviates from that OCD.
What do you think about that, Josh? Do you have an OCD?
I mean, I do have the collector sort of gene, or whatever, the collector bug of wanting to finish stuff and have everything, and I have some of that in me. I just am really picky.
Fair. That's usually the thing that holds me up from completing something. Is I don't like all of it,
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Sweat 47, more of a question. I mean, more of a statement than a question. He says, collecting cards fucking rules. That's it.
No, agree.
All right. Stacking slabs with a small novel, a novella, if you will. Here's what he says. Brett says, I want to be a voice here to celebrate all the amazing collector-driven activity that's happened this week in the hobby. Outsiders looking in would have seen the hobby mainstream continue to hump each other for fake fame, which includes, but is not limited to, the creation of fake narratives to attempt to influence their position, trend jumping, and pseudo-soothsayers who attempt to forecast the future of the hobby, while there actually was activity of substance happening on the other channel. I just want to congratulate MK Sports Cards and Waldorf Stories Grant for their deal, which was a master class in collector content and deal making. I want to congratulate Josh on his LeBrons and John Hedges on his absurd modern basketball mail days. Seeing these 3 collector use cases gives me confidence that the cream always rises to the top. Always appreciate the passion coming from the show. Hey, is this Vinny Splabrino? Happy collecting. Was there a question? There was not a question in there. This again was more of a. We just got a lot of statements tonight, I guess. But maybe you want to react to something Brett said.
Well, you and I were talking about this today on DMs, and then I posted a story. You posted a story first about sort of outlining giving the recap of what Mike had done and just how incredible it was. And we were just sort of like getting each other fired up about it, and then Brett and I were getting fired up about it, so that's probably what that is. For
sure. Yeah, well, speaking of what Mike did, we had 2 questions about it. Kenny Card says, can you go into depth on MK Sports Cards' accumulation of MJ Grails? And Iowa Dave says, please talk through the MK Sports Cards Jordan trade a little bit. It's fascinating. So, can you shed any light on that deal?
Yes, I know both those guys really well. So Mike's kind of he's doing the Jordan thing the same way that I'm doing the LeBron thing. Like those 6 cards, those Jordans aren't really like a set, but you and I kind of know them to be like this informal checklist of like these are the Jordan Grails you need, right? So it's kind of the same vibe. But anyways, the last one he needed was the PNG Championship, and it's been gnawing at him for a while. So he probably DM'd Grant and was like, hey, let's do this now, and let's make a trade. And Grant was like, I'm going to need a ton for it. And they made a deal. It was like 300 cards, I believe. And then Mike... hold on.
Mike, I just want that to sink in for a second. 300 card trade. And these aren't like dollars.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not like he's trading PSA 10s of like liquid cards either. It's like all stuff that Mike collects, which if you've seen his page is like really hard to find rare stuff. So it's like he's trading 300 pretty unique things that can't really be replicated. That he's taken, as you pointed out, 6 to 7 years to build up, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that stands out to me is like he's built this collection, like from 2016 onward, I think roughly.
Yeah.
And that's quite the accomplishment because the market already was multiples of itself. 2016 already experienced a lot of growth relative to just a few years ago. So, like, cards weren't exactly cheap then, nowhere near what they're worth today. But to build up that collection over the last few years and to keep adding pieces of magnitude, even in 2023, that's a worthy asterisk to put on the collections. Like, not only is this a great collection, but like this collection was built during, a period of hobby abundance, which makes it all the more impressive. So.
Yep. And this has always been kind of an approach that we've talked about where you don't necessarily need to buy cards that you feel like you're going to buy them only for the purposes of trading or selling in the future. You can buy stuff for yourself, and then eventually you still might find a way to be able to sell those and move them up into a bigger card or trade it like Mike did.
Right.
And then on the other end, I think this is going to really work out well for Grant as well because he's very, very good at taking a big bunch of cards like that and turning it into a lot of other cool stuff. Like he's going to take those 300 cards, turn them into like 2 Jordan Grails. Like I wouldn't put anything like that past him. Like he's wheeling and dealing all the time, so this is kind of a win-win for both these guys.
Oh yeah, totally. He's going to turn those 300 into 300 more on each card, and then you're going to have 9,000 or whatever, 300 times 90,000.
Yep. And it works for Mike because he wanted that card. He's already put in all this work. He's like, I just want this done. I want the card. I want it checked off my list. Take it all.
Yeah. Were we next to Grant at the National when he got that PMG championship? Am I remembering that right? Or maybe it was a different card.
Matt, great. He's had like 2 or 3 of those though. So right. I was I can't remember where he got each of them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, one of the craziest trades ever. Just sort of happens though, like if you don't stop and sort of appreciate how crazy that trade is. Yeah, I mean, guys flying in with a suitcase or a briefcase of 300 cards. Just like, all right, let's lay these on the table here and see what we got. It's pretty cool.
I don't get how he picked those 300. He's got tons of cards to choose from. Why those 3? Like, how did they come up with those 300?
That's a good question. I don't know. Oh man. That's cool. Grant, you should post a picture of all 300, man. I was looking for one on your page earlier today, but I couldn't find it. I couldn't find a post of it. Maybe it went to your story. I don't know.
Well, he likes the mystery of it a bit. He likes the people message him, what'd you get? Show me. And he's like slowly leaks it out. He's got his ways.
Okay. All right. Or a slow trickle. All right. Next question. Drake's PC says, there seems to be an odd practice in the hobby where it's okay to post pictures of cards on bed sheets. And if we're gonna just riff on this topic, you know, if you've already taken pictures of cards on your bed, these dirty ass cards on your bed, don't include pictures of your bare feet. I hate seeing that hairy toe creeping into the bottom of the picture. All right, but then Drake's PC says, what are some other unique...
Yeah, but with the hairy toe, they can also post it on OnlyFans for money, too.
Okay. And Drake says, what are some other unique accepted hobby practices that come to mind?
The bedsheet one is pretty out there. That's pretty random.
How about like the picture of the card over the steering wheel of like a Tesla, or or the Rolex, next to the card itself? Like, I just feel like if you're already like showing off a badass card, like, don't make us feel even worse by including your luxury car or other luxury goods.
Yeah. I couldn't really think of any other ones, like any quirks, like funny, odd ones. Maybe the chat can help us with this one.
Yeah. Well, there's also like the marble countertop picture.
Yeah.
There's many pictures of cards taken on top of marble countertops.
I wasn't just thinking of, like, I wasn't just thinking of like ways to take pictures. I was thinking of other weird. What's your lowest? That one. There's one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Asking somebody what's your lowest. That's fair.
That's probably more than just cards, but I feel like I have only heard that phrase in cards. Like, that's just the first thing people blurt out at me. Well, it's not the best way to do it, but all right.
Kuma Bailey says swimming pool. Very true. Very, very true. The picture of the card with the swimming pool in the background is definitely a thing. Boobs, Christina says.
That's becoming a thing.
Christina, can you pull up maybe a few examples we could show the chat?
No. Neither will be.
Drake says not taking pictures of the back of the card.
Well, that's because those cards are undergraded. Or what does he say? Looks better than it is, or whatever. Looks higher grade. I forget what he says.
Oh yeah, looks nicer.
Looks nicer, yeah. He doesn't want us to see that it actually probably isn't nicer.
Okay. Lights Camera Card says, is there any correlation between All-Star Game fan voting and hobby prices? How the heck did Kyrie Irving rank number one by the fans for guards in the Eastern Conference? What do you say, Josh? Do you think there's a correlation?
I think people are trying to steal my content now.
Go on.
This was my idea. Well, because like the Kobe LeBron thing, people were saying like, yeah, throw all the stats you want. Kobe was more liked. And I was like, is he? Let's see about that. And I thought the All-Star vote was a really, really good proxy for popularity for a player. I couldn't think of a better one, especially using some sort of statistic.
Yeah.
And the hobby seems like it's another proxy for how much someone is liked. And we talked about this last week with Kevin Durant, similar to Kyrie, where those guys are both really, really popular amongst like the general public and fans, but not in the hobby. And it's fascinating to me.
Well, how about let me tell you who the top three vote getters were in front court and back court for both conferences. Front court in the East was Giannis, Durant, and Tatum. Guards in the East were Kyrie, Donovan Mitchell, and Jaylen Brown. Front court in the West was LeBron, Jokic, and Zion. And guards in the West were Steph Curry, Luka, and John Morant.
Yeah, I mean, that's about what I would have guessed, in terms of popularity, except for Kyrie.
Yeah. I mean, I think there is a pretty. It's not a perfect correlation, but I think those are some of the most valuable athletes in the hobby too.
This is totally anecdotal, but I was at National in 2018. This is a random story, and we were talking to this. I think he was about like 16 or 17. So he was a younger kid, and we were like, "Who's your top 5?" The discussion was like top 5 of all time. He had like Kyrie at number 4 all time. We were just like, "What?" And it just sort of like hit me at that moment that I was like, some people are like, Kyrie is popular maybe with the younger generation. Maybe it's like the whole Uncle Drew thing, sort of the handle, the swag he had, the way he plays and stuff. He might be pretty more popular than I thought.
Plus, I'm told his shoes are popular.
Okay, because they're like lower shoes, like the style of them.
No clue.
They also say he's a really good person. Like, he gives a lot of money away, and that's not reported by, like, NBA on TV, but, like, it's reported on people who follow him.
Christina says he has an endearing philanthropic streak.
I don't think it translates to the hobby for him and KD, mostly because of, like, their age, and they've sort of cycled out of, like, the hype of being a younger player, and they don't have, like, the accolades enough to kind of hang with the top guys. Like, we always talk about your value sorts to like dip over time unless you're just like one of the top guys, top 10 or whatever, top 20 basically. And KD and Kyrie are kind of like not quite at that range.
Fair. All right. Mad City Collector says, can you expound on your mindset when you took a hiatus from buying Grail cards from your main PCs because they got too expensive, and how you pivoted into different collecting goals? Did you find it less enjoyable to collect cards of lower monetary value?
Why don't you take one? I feel like I'm talking a lot.
Okay. I didn't find it less enjoyable at all. I found it very enjoyable, and maybe even more enjoyable, if I'm being completely honest about it, because I don't know. It's just like so basically, like, to put some details to this. So like, I've collected Michael Jordan for going on 7 years. He's very expensive to collect now. We've been collecting Luka for 4 years. He's very expensive to collect. And then the cheaper players that we've recently started collecting are basically Christian McCaffrey and Jokic and Le'Veon Bell. And then like some random stuff like maybe like and Maxey. And maybe like some random stuff like a Curry or like a, but he's not cheap, or like a Lamar Jackson.
I don't know if you can say that your Jokic collection is cheap when...
It's cheap. I'm picking up optic golds of this guy for like $150. Right.
What?
Yeah. So, like, look, like Jokic, if you want like a rule of thumb on Jokic prices, they're 10% of Giannis.
Wow.
So
That's pretty nice. That's a little off the like napkin rule.
Yeah. A little back of the napkin math. If I give over to show, like, how much is Jokic? 10% of Giannis.
Wow, that's incredible. And he's got the same amount of MVPs and about to be more.
Yeah, but like I get it. Giannis is way more electrifying as an athlete, and he has a championship, which is huge in basketball culture. So, but so collecting cheaper players, I like it, Josh. I've enjoyed it quite a bit. It's also just it's given me an appreciation for other. Maybe this is why I like it. It's given me an appreciation for other PCs that I wouldn't have had an appreciation for if I wasn't collecting a similar PC. So like now, like buddy of ours, 23 over ELO, has started a Marshall Falk PC, and he's got like some of the PMGs of Falk from the 90s, and like also collecting running back myself. and knowing how important Falk is to the history of the NFL in that position, and then knowing and caring about running back collections, I'm much more invested in watching that collection unfold. It's like I've been able to take a legitimate interest in a lot more things by diversifying what I collect myself.
The word happy is reinvigorating.
Reinvigorating is Christine's word. What do you think, Josh? What do you say to this question?
Yeah, I'm with you for the most part. I mean, I agree. I don't know. I just have fun with all of it. I like buying. I like coming back to LeBron and buying expensive cards. I like filling out cheaper cards. I like collecting Chris Paul. I like all of it. It doesn't, no matter what the prices are, we'll find something. We just it's all relative. We just sort of change our baseline of what we're going after depending on where the market is.
For sure. Okay. Ryan R. SSC asks, what is the proper etiquette when someone has a Pop 1 card that you need for your set, but they are not motivated to move it no matter what the offer is?
You ever had that problem?
I've been on both sides of that problem.
Have you?
I've been on both sides of that problem. Sometimes I am the problem.
Pop 1, is it a grade specific thing, you think? That's part of the question? I need that PSA 10 for my set?
Probably.
Yes, because it doesn't say 1 of 1.
Yeah, probably. Yep. But, I mean, you can apply it to 1 of 1s too, or a card that you need to complete a rainbow, or just a card that you need for your collection. But, I mean, to me, this is a non-starter if the premises are accurate. If it's true that both, 1, they aren't motivated to move it, and 2, it doesn't matter what the offer is, they're not going to move it. You have nothing left. If there's nothing you can offer, then it's done. It's over.
So the proper etiquette is to stop whining about it and move on.
Stop whining.
Yeah. I like how more than 0% of our questions we get are there's clearly no solution. They know we're not going to give the solution because it's impossible. They just need that shoulder to cry on.
Yeah, I guess so. This is Vent's posting. So, but I don't know. Stay around in the background, linger, because things can change.
Yep.
Then follow up every few months.
Yeah, every once in a while, that person, I don't want to say gets desperate to they need money or whatever, but like you said, things change, and you're going to be the first person they think of, and and then they're going to be changing their tune a decent amount. Hey, I know you talked about it before at this price. Where are we at now?
Absolutely, and stay ready. Stay ready. Don't let yourself fall into a position where if that card ever does become available, you can't go get it.
Yeah.
All right. Spurs Cards 21 says, how do you not get burned out with sports cards when you live it 24/7?
That's a pretty good question.
What do you say? John's like, well, you do actually.
You need good friends. That's the answer.
Yep, that helps.
I think you need good friends, and then you need a good balance of kind of, people get mad about the whole negativity thing in the space, and this has come up again recently. I think with the Gary Vee interview, the hobby people are so negative. That's what's pushed people out. I think that part of it's really helpful for me is to balance being negative and positive, making fun of stuff that's ridiculous, being positive about certain aspects of the hobby. That sort of keeps me, even keeled and not getting burnt out, I think, Yeah,
that's a good point. One thought that occurred to me about this question was that I think marrying collecting with an interest in ongoing sports is helpful. If I wasn't doing the hobby 24/7, I don't know if I'd have as much of an active interest in active players, but following the sports leagues, which are always have drama going on, always have things changing, following the sports leagues helps keep things fresh and interesting, and gives a few even more highs and lows. And then when I get fed up with hobby content, I just listen to gambling content or sports analysis, and then I still get information that helps me collect and helps me do my job, but I don't have to have it all be hobby related.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's part of it. Okay. Tiger Jordan 311 says, what percentage of your collection is graded? And do you have a threshold for when to grade or not to grade?
Mm. Mm. Well, I have a lot of binder stuff, so I'd say 10%, 20% of my collection is graded.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and it's probably a value threshold of 500 to 1,000, something like that.
Yeah. My value threshold's lower because I love getting stuff graded. So mine's more like $100 probably.
Yeah.
But same, we've got 5 rows and on top of 5 rows of ungraded cards. So lots of ungraded stuff sitting around. Okay. 2 questions on this topic. First one from Drake. Discuss the pros and cons of continuing to collect cards while you're waiting for a certain card to surface versus not acquiring cards and just saving cash until that card comes up. And if you aren't constantly having mail days and you're just saving money, how do you stay engaged in the hobby? And then Flippin' Hoops had a similar question. He said, do you have any advice on how to stay disciplined to your want list? There's still a handful of cards I'm really trying to get this year, but some cards I never knew existed keep popping up, and they're in my price range, which is tempting me to buy some of them, but it's steering me away from what I really want to accomplish. Have you ever had this issue in the past?
Yeah, I mean, we have this issue all the time. We just fill it with other players, Todd Gurley, Le'Veon Bell. Just collect guys that are cheaper that kind of can still give you the same feeling of buying, the rare stuff, the quote-unquote high-end stuff, but it's just a lower tier, cheaper, while you're kind of waiting for the other stuff. But you and I both have gotten to the point where we have 3 or 4, I think you probably have 5 by now, players where it's the math dictates that, about once a week or every other week, something's going to come up for one of those collections because of, all the different things we're after. So just having more players that you collect, I think, will help.
And then on the other side of that question, I think I almost read these questions differently. I almost interpreted these questions to be encourage me to not buy a bunch of stuff so I can have the cash reserve ready for when the card that I actually really want comes available.
Yeah.
What do you
play that
think about that?
You play that side.
Well, that side is all about delayed gratification, which is something that human beings struggle with mightily. And the hobby has a lot of impulsivity to it. So it almost it almost starts to feel like work, and then that's when you're well, are we really do I want my hobby to feel like work? But the payoff, if and when the card you're chasing does become available, the one that you really, really want, and you are in position to buy it when it becomes available, that payoff is better than the payoff of all the smaller mail days for cards that you like but you don't really love. And you don't and then you don't sometimes I get this feeling when I'm flipping through my PC. You don't want that feeling when you're flipping through the PC and you're just I like these cards.
Yeah.
But man, I would love to just pile these up and trade them for one that I love.
Yeah, but couldn't you do what Mike did and do both, where you buy kind of everything that comes across that you like at all different value levels, and then one day you just trade them all for one big one?
Oh, Mike and Grant make it look easy, but they have a rapport. They've been doing that for a while. That's a pretty hard situation to come by.
Yeah, but you.
Sorry, I did it once. Yeah.
No. I wasn't gonna say that. I was just gonna say played this. Like you talked about this a lot a couple years ago, where you would just sort of say, "I've got all these sweet cards, and these cards are really easy to sell. Like, look at these things. These cards sell themselves. I just make some posts, put them on eBay. All of a sudden, they start selling one by one. Maybe it takes a couple weeks, and then all of a sudden, I got a Jordan Grail. Like, you used to do that
Yes,
pretty frequently. Is that changed now? Like, you can't do that anymore?
Yeah, it's called laziness. That laziness is preventing me from selling anything. I'm just a vacuum that just accumulates.
Yeah, you're different. You've changed.
I've changed. But yes, once upon a time, especially when I was in law school and and didn't have, frankly, any income or a minimal income. At that time, I had my box of cards. Like, I had like my 2-row of all my Jordan inserts, but like I was very nimble. If I needed to sell $20,000 worth of them because like a Rubies became available, I could do that in 48 hours. I could go on the Facebook groups. I knew how to price them at market price, and I could fundraise quickly. And I'm just not that nimble anymore.
Yeah, you're too attached now to everything.
Exactly.
Well, is there a trade? Is there a scenario like if Grant had come to you first and been like, "Hey, I've got this Jordan PMG, and I'll take a lot of what you have, let's say, a lot of one-of-ones and just a bunch of stuff." What would you say?
Oh yeah, I mean, as long as it's not anything super duper central to the collection, I mean, yeah. And I have like 1,000 junk slabs that are like worth between like $10 and $50, and I would love to be able to do something with this pile of junk. And like some of it's just like so junky that like if I sent it to a consignment outfit, it might not even meet the threshold to get me paid out.
Or they'd murder you.
yeah, or both. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, that's okay. So if I can say something nice about dealers, that's one nice thing about dealers.
Yeah.
It's like they can come into possession of a Grail, and then collectors like ourselves who just accumulate stuff over the years can send them a trade like that, and like they're gonna make money on the value, and we're gonna get a card that we really want, and we got to enjoy all those cards. How come we never think about cards like that? How come we only think about cards in terms of their market value, and we don't think about the fact like I got to own this card for 3 years, and I got to enjoy it for 3 years, and there's value in that too.
Totally.
All right. Hobby Champs says this is just another statement. The hobby is what each and every individual gets out of it. Investing, collecting, whatever. There's no wrong way to hobby. Labels are meaningless. Let people hobby how they want to hobby. I'm tired of people telling others what they are or how they should be. Hashtag mind your own business.
Mm-hmm. It's good timing on that one, right? After your previous rant, that lined up nicely.
Nice, good. All right.
What do you have to say about that though? Because we've been like critical of certain aspects of the hobby. Like should we be more of let people do their own thing, or are you on the stance of like we are only going after that when people are coming into our front yard, like we talked about?
I find it useful to frame this topic in this light. This is an issue in every field of life, and it's an issue in social theory. This is libertarians versus authoritarians. Should you be forced to wear your seatbelt or not? And if you get hurt when you wear your seatbelt, should you expect society to take care? If you get hurt not wearing your seatbelt, should you expect society to take care of you? This is a question that doesn't have an answer. It's a question that lends itself to your bias and your perspective. So you can translate the same thing to the hobby. how critical should we be? How much control should we exert over how people behave and do things? Granted that we as a community are acting in the best interest of other people. Let's just assume that. Let's assume that when people are critiquing or dispensing advice or whatever, that they're acting, they want to see they generally want to see the best for other people and for the community. How much control should be exerted versus how much should it be a wild, wild west where people can just do whatever the hell they want and they have to own the consequences for it, and it is what it is. Just an open question.
That's a yes or no.
I do lean more towards the side of just where Hobby Champs is coming from, honestly. Just like let people do whatever the hell they want to do. But, I think like the tricky part about that approach is that like it's almost self-defeating, because if your approach is let people do what they want to do, well, then you're also kind of like, how can you come back and say, except I'm going to stop people from telling others what to do? Well, people telling others what to do is just them doing what they want to do. Okay? So, it's almost a self-defeating proposition. You're just drawing the line in a different place. You want to tell people, don't tell other people what to do, but then you're telling them what to do.
Yeah, I feel like I have some level of responsibility to like stand up and say what I believe is right, because I've seen it play out several cycles over 7 years, and it's like, I know the pump and dump shit doesn't work. I know it just pisses people off and they end up leaving. I'd rather say something and attempt to salvage it and like keep more people happy, but I don't know.
Yeah, great point. There's probably a good balance between people offering up their wisdom and their experience versus like not meddling too much in other people's affairs. Probably a balance somewhere that can work. All right. Cards and coffee.
Yeah, so it's like one more thing. It's like when we stand up and speak out against influencers that we know don't have cards at the forefront of their, passion. We know they're just doing it for themselves. It's because we know that in 6 months we're going to see some stupid post about some new bullshit they're trying to push on us, and we don't want to have to deal with that in the future, so we'd get ahead of it.
Correct. That's exactly right. We've seen that cycle, like you said, a few times now.
Yeah, it's like, oh, here it comes. Here's the, pitch to get me into tickets or NFTs now. Saw this one coming.
Right. Okay. Cards and Josh, you commented. You said you like this topic, so let's see where we go with this one. Cards and Coffee says, here's the topic idea. Talk about building $1,000, a $5,000, and a $10,000 card portfolio to pass on to kids in 10 to 15 years.
Yeah. Well, I do have children. That's why I thought, like, that's kind of an interesting thought. Maybe I should. Sammy was like sitting next to me when I read that, and I looked at him and like, nah, fuck that kid. These are my cards. It's like $5,000. What the fuck? I'm gonna spend $5,000 on no, but for real, I thought it's kind of a neat idea. Like, what if I built something for him where when he was old enough to give a crap, he'd be like, wow, this is like something to get me kickstarted or something to kind of have a nice starting place. Because when you have like 0 cards, it's pretty tough. Like a lot of our questions, like where do I start and stuff. It'd be cool if you had somewhere to start, some sort of like launching point of things that he could trade out of and get new cards or whatever. That'd be kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but unfortunately, you hand that collection over to him when he's 18, about to go to college, and he's just like, or I'll just sell this.
Yeah, he's like, I gotta buy a car to impress a girl, Dad. What the fuck?
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Julian Schultz. Okay, let's get into a little hobby drama. Julian Schultz says, what do you think about the Nico Goodrum Superfractor being burnt? Yes, being burnt. And so basically the background to this is there was a break going on. Somebody pulls a Nico Goodrum superfractor. Don't know who that athlete is. And they were upset that this was the card that they got, and so they instructed the breaker to burn the card rather than ship it to them, and the breaker obliged.
Man, goes back to your thing earlier, like, what's the right decision? It's based on the individuals. It sucks because, there's people that, like, I think of Christina trying to finish this rainbow. What if that's the last one she needed? Like that really sucks. Like, these cards actually, it may not be for you. You may not like it. You may not be happy with your break, but like, what if there's a Nico, whatever his last name is, super collector that needs that superfractor?
Nailed it. That's exactly the dilemma here. But you know what? The person who won the card in the break won the card. It's their card. But yeah, it's just a little obnoxious. This is the thing. All right, I have a small rant here.
Yes.
Small rant. Gambling gets people way too up in their emotions, and people get way too stressed out over gambling. So, like, I'm gonna give you an example. There was a game the other night. it was that Suns game last night, and like when Luka went out, I'm sure everybody hit the money line. Suns. I'm betting Suns, which is obviously the right thing to do. It's logical. You should win that bet. But DeAndre Ayton shoots like 6 of 20 from the paint, and if he just makes like 3 of those, they win. But he doesn't. And so right after the game, Kendrick Perkins takes to Twitter, and he just eviscerates DeAndre Ayton. He's like, what a bum. This guy sucks. Overrated. Can't make a shot in the paint. Most overrated center in the league. Carry the hell on. And it's like, okay, Perk, so we know you had money riding on this game, didn't you? We know you had money riding on this damn game, and you got so fired up, and now you're just bashing this dude online because you got upset about it. It's the same thing in cards. Getting into the break is a gamble, and you gamble on this team, and you get this guy that you don't want, and then you get so pissed off. You get so pissed off that rather than have the card shipped to you, it's just a damn card. Rather than have it shipped to you, you literally want to watch it burn. That's when the gambling has gotten too far. The gambling has gotten out of control. When you're burning cards, or you're going online and you're just like venting about a player who's just trying to play basketball, man. You're like, this damn bum, dude. It's one game, but we know you had money on it. That's my rant. End of rant.
So, does the breaker though? Couldn't the breaker have been like, you know what? That's hilarious, but I'm gonna set this aside and we'll work it out after. I'll give you a minute's cool down. I'm not gonna burn it live. Or did the breaker say, the customer's always right. Better do what he says. Burn this motherfucker.
Well, the breaker probably saw an opportunity for a little pub, a little PR.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
That probably happened. Because the breaker could have, maybe diffused the situation. Said like, I'll buy this off you for $200 or something, or I don't know.
You know what they could do now is autograph the card and have PSA grade it.
I think they did like sign the card. I don't know. I didn't look into the screenshots too carefully, but I thought I did see like I don't know. That may have happened, Josh. All right. And then some more hobby drama. So Hawks and Habs PC says there's 2 questions on this. Hawks and Habs PC says this week there have been a few instances of people literally physically ripping open their Panini cards to discover that the jersey in the card does not belong to the player on the front. Personally, this is not shocking to me. I suspect this can even be the case for game used. Unless it specifically says on the back of the card that the jersey was worn by the player on the front, we should assume it could be from any random player. What are your thoughts on this topic, and should there be any response from the card companies? And then JP3 Card says, when it comes to cards featuring game-used jerseys and patches, if you have to ballpark it, what % do you think are actually worn by the person on the card and not some other random player? The vague language on many of the game-worn cards leaves the door open to interpretation. So what do you think about this?
Didn't those specific cards say, like, literally on the back that this is not from any specific player, event, or game or anything? Like, it literally was like, this is just a patch it's just part of the card. It has nothing to do with, like, the player wearing it.
Yes, however, the specific Tyreek Hill card says the memorabilia item is not associated with any game or event. It did not say it's not associated with any player. And that's what people will say is, well, since you didn't say it's not associated with the player, there's an implication that it's still associated with the player somehow.
How? Like, you touched it? If it's not game worn, like, this is my line. If it's not literally that player wore it in a game, who gives a shit? Like, it's all. Other than that, it's all the same. It's all Dick's Sporting Goods. Like, these are literally just like pieces of clothing incorporated into the design of the card. If it's not a game worn, right?
100%. Yeah. Well, I've had a chance to think about. I think player worn matters too, but I've had a chance to think about this. And here's the thing: in the history of cards, there's two types of association. Either a piece of memorabilia is game worn or it's event worn. Those are the two types of association, and that encompasses all scenarios. Either the memorabilia was worn in a game, or it was worn in something other than the game, which is called an event. And that's been part of hobby, like, nomenclature for a long time. So if that memorabilia piece is not game worn and it's also not event worn, that logically excludes the possibility of it being associated with the player, because those two categories, game worn and event worn, encompass all the possible worlds of association with the player. Because like you said, if it's not game worn and if it's not event worn, then what possible association could the player have?
Yeah.
So
well,
I think that argument still loses when you think it through.
The next question is usually like, well, why didn't Panini take the time to make sure each and every card is perfectly aligned and matched to the player? Well, then Panini's going to say that's going to take too much time. It's the same as the sticker thing. Well, why do you have sticker autos? Well, because it's not feasible for us to get on-card autos back and forth shipped between all these players. It's too much. It's too difficult. The sticker saves us a lot of time. This is kind of feels like that. I mean, so I get it from everyone's perspective, but as a customer, I would just rather have less supply. Just don't give me sticker autos. Don't give me any of these weird. Just don't make those cards. And then the ones that you do make and they are real and we know they're real, are that much more special. They're that much more rare and they have more meaning. But, and I want to respond. I wish these companies would speak out more. I wish there was someone in the pulse of the hobby at each of these companies responding to people, being like, hey, we saw this. I took this to the team. We're talking about it. There's nothing. We just totally are in the dark on all these. I feel like that happens with Beckett all the time too. We're just totally in the dark. There's nobody in the hobby at these companies being like, hey, I saw this, noted or something.
Completely agreed. This is a sort of a misplaced frustration that's boiling over from those things you just pointed out. And it's also boiling over from the fact that people just want every card to be an on-card autograph, and they just want every card to have a piece of game-used memorabilia. I think that's the real source of frustration here, which is fine, which is fair, but then, read the backside of cards and read the description of the box and be discriminating when it comes to which items you're going to acquire and which products you're going to purchase to open. And just make sure you're buying stuff that has on-card autos and that has game-used memorabilia.
Yep.
All right, Vinny Slabarino. He says he always enjoys the show.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, and the third and final piece of hobby drama. He says, you probably heard about the Panini Babe Ruth autograph that got switched.
Not this fucking cut auto shit.
With the George Brett auto. If Panini were to get both cards back and they switched the autographs to be in the correct cards, who gets the Babe Ruth autograph? And by the way, isn't one of them fake, but a Photoshop job?
The Ruth in the George Brett card is fake.
Okay, all right. So
hilarious.
So the person who originally, let's just say that they're both real for the sake of this question. So Vinny wants to know, the person who originally pulled the Ruth card with the Brett auto, or the person who originally pulled the Brett card with the Ruth auto, which person should get the cards once they fix them? Channel your inner King Solomon. Split the baby. Thanks, Vinny. Who should get what, Josh? Should the person who got the Babe Ruth autograph and the George Brett card, should they get the Babe Ruth autograph and card ultimately?
The two people should have to autograph each other's bodies.
I think they should. I think one guy should get a shit beast, and the other guy should get a crypto dick butt.
I thought you were going to say one guy should get the shit kicked out of him, and the other guy... yeah, man, I just don't care about this. I don't know why. This doesn't interest me.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like Panini obviously makes mistakes, duh. But like they make one mistake and people are just fucking piling on them like, oh my god, how dare they? They fucking did this on purpose. They're trying to destroy my hobby. Oh fuck. And it's like, I really don't think that they did this on purpose. You know, like it's obviously a mistake. Whatever Panini thinks is like the fair resolution in your scenario, fine.
Yeah.
The more interesting topic here, which you didn't bring up, but I will, because this show's gonna be fun. So fuck it. That fake one is a great little social experiment for seeing who the fuck only cares about clickbait, garbage content, and who actually cares about the hobby. Because if you just see that and you immediately start posting, this content about trying to get everyone riled up, like we know now that that's the basis of your content, and you don't actually give a shit.
Well said. It's, dude, in the era of social media, and I think it's gotten worse in the last year, but like in social media land, we are saying things out loud through social media, like digitally, that 10, 20 years ago, we would just mutter to ourselves under our breath and not subject anybody else to have to hear. And now, like, internet discourse is dominated by things that should, or that once were just things that we muttered to ourselves. And now 90% of the words typed by human, I'm just making that up, but like 90% of the words typed online by human beings are things that should be kept, that would have been kept to oneself, if not for the tool of social media enabling us to transcribe these knee-jerk reactions and frustrations.
It's like this supercharged form of human evolution that we're not ready for.
Or de-evolution. And we approach idiocracy.
Like humans are evolved to be social with each other, but not at this scale and at this sort of like level of having no consequences. Where it's like I could just literally, we were evolved to like have people that are bigger and stronger than other people, the survival of the fittest. And so if you say something like that, someone in person, you're going to get the shit kicked out of you. So you're not going to say it. But online, you can say it.
Right. Very true. Yeah. I don't know. Like, in society, though, I do think this is, I've never been concerned about this issue until recently. But, like, as a society, we are probably going to have to figure out how to deal with the fact that, like, the internet has just become basically a giant comments section.
Yeah.
We're going to have to figure that out.
Yeah.
It's going to involve, like, rethinking what free speech is.
You think Elon Musk is going to solve that with Twitter? That's what he thought he was going to do.
Probably not.
Well, you're getting at the heart of like why he wanted to buy Twitter. like he saw Twitter as like sort of the representation of what you're saying, and he thought like my opinion on this is very important, and I want to make sure it gets handled properly.
Well, that was his first mistake. I think because like he's lost a lot of he's cost himself a lot of bad PR as a result of buying Twitter and then like imposing his sort of free speech notions on it.
Right.
And I think like this is also, kind of like we have the problem of like smart people understand that, it's not rational to have like 10 kids. And so smart people are having few kids.
Idiocracy.
Yeah. That's kind of a problem online too, because it's like smart people realize, I should just probably keep my mouth shut. And then no one's gonna mess with me or give me issues. Like I just stay. But then who becomes the figureheads and the people that dominate conversation and become leaders? It's people who either are sociopaths and have no regard, it don't feel anything when like millions of people hate them, or it's people who are I don't know. It's a problem. We have a speaking of evolution, we have an evolutionary selection problem happening right now.
Well, have you heard chatter about like all this chat AI stuff or ChatGPT? Have you heard about this?
Bit. I've looked into it a little bit. It is. I asked it what are sports cards, and I posted it to my story this week.
What did it say?
It gave me like 3 paragraphs about sports cards. Like it was like just generic stuff. A Wikipedia introduction section. Whatever you'd imagine like an intro to Wikipedia sports cards would say. Basically, spat that back out.
Yeah. I'm not sure how that relates entirely to this, but kind of. Like, are we just gonna? Because we're just gonna deal with more of that. There's already like bots and stuff, but now we're gonna have like more of. Now we can't even decipher if this is a real person that I'm arguing with online. It's like another layer of just. It kind of makes. The funniest thing you said was like all the smart people realize maybe I should just not say anything, and it's gonna be just like bots and stupid people arguing with each other. It's like every other post on Instagram, sports related, is just going to turn into like Jordan versus LeBron, just like automatically.
And it's just all bots.
Yeah, because the bots are like, we noticed that 30% of all topics divulge into LeBron versus Jordan, so let's just go to that.
Oh, that's funny.
And we'll be living on our fancy Zoom and yachts and having our robots talk to each other. Like this stuff is so ridiculous, man.
That's too perfect. So like that ultimately becomes the end game of this chat, of this language, these language models, these ChatGPTs. The end game of them is ultimately just deploying them to make arguments on social media.
Well, I mean, the All In podcast guys talk about this ChatGPT thing like every week. That's why it's kind of on the top of my mind. Okay. But they are like, the use cases are going to be for, marketing content creators, people that are generating content, marketing. Their jobs are going to be easier, or people that create art or movies and stuff. They're just going to like write these scripts with these bots. And I'm like, how is that good? I don't understand how I should care about that, and I just don't understand. I'm not seeing like really good use cases yet.
Right. Yeah. I know a bunch of people are trying to figure out how to make money using it.
Yeah, of course. You fucking hear me? Those companies are like. Remember when everyone was investing in like marijuana weed companies? Remember that? Like it's like oh guys, it's gonna change the world. Everyone's gonna be smoking pot on every street corner. You better invest now. It's like, how do I invest in that? What are you talking about?
Well, like I went on YouTube to learn a little bit about it, which was my first mistake. And it was just nothing but videos of like, here's how you make $500 a day using ChatGPT. And I'm just like,
puke. It sucks, man. I feel like it's happening like that with everything I research. Even like, I'm getting into the running stuff. Everything I research on YouTube about it is just like total garbage for the most part. It's just like, ugh. You just have to just like figure out stuff yourself now.
Yep. Yep. Well, like I saw one guy using ChatGPT because like you can instruct it to behave in a certain way. So you can say like behave or like act as a personal trainer, and then it will say, okay, I'm a personal trainer, and then you say, here's my height, my weight, here's my nutrition goals, here's my workout goal. Can you help me get to it? And then like it says, okay, well I need a few more questions. Like how many days a week do you want to do this? And so like you go back and forth with it, and then it prepares a meal plan for you eventually, and like a workout regimen. I'm just like, you put all this effort into coaching this ChatGPT. Why don't you just go learn for yourself? Go pick up a few books, go to a few websites, maybe talk to a personal trainer or two, and just actually acquire the knowledge for yourself. And then you have the knowledge, and you're putting in a similar amount of effort, honestly. So,
Plus, would you ever like 100% trust the bot?
no. Hell no. Not at all. And I'm not even impressed by it either. Like it's we had fancy Zoom before. This is fancy Google. I'm not blown away.
All right, let's move on.
All right. Splendid Sports says, for those that like to display graded cards, do you think the grading companies are missing an opportunity to offer slabs with UV protection?
Wait, what?
UV protection. Like, are the slab companies missing an opportunity to put a type of plastic on the slab that would allow the slab to be displayed all the time, so you don't have to worry about light?
Gotcha. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
It sounds expensive, though.
Well, look, I'm going to go back to, like, do we really trust the bots? Do you really trust the plastic?
No, I
really
wouldn't. Never.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. I don't trust the
If
plastic.
someone told you, if someone was like, I personally can attest to this fact that this is UV protected up to 1,000,000 years, you'd be like, great, it's going right in my fucking box.
Exactly. Look, I get where this question is coming from, and it is very nice to be able to display cards, and it would be even better if we could do it without concern about light interfering with the presentation of the card and ruining the surfaces. But I actually go the complete opposite direction. I say, give me plastic that is built to make the card optimally viewed, like the least cloudy plastic, the most clear plastic. That's what I want. I want plastic that makes the card present as beautifully as possible, and then let it be incumbent upon me to make sure I store that card and keep it out of the light.
Yes, agreed.
But I don't display cards, though, so it's easy for me to say that.
Yep. There was another question about a cool idea for PSA that I thought you were reading. That's why my brain got melted.
Well, let me go to that one. So, here it is, from Hobby Champs. Imagine a PSA feature that slow reveals your grades for you. There could be animations and everything. Click on a card and it starts. So if you don't want to wait, you can get a little enjoyment out of it online. And also, it could be a cool tool for content creators to grade reveal their subs on their platform before the cards are in hand.
It's a fucking great idea. I screenshot it and sent it to Nat. He said, great idea.
Nice. Nice. There you go, Hobby Champs. There you go.
There's nothing more that I hate when people are like, oh, that's such a great idea. I'll take a note and never do it. I hate that so much. So I'm like, let's just fucking do it, right? Like, Christina, I'm thinking of what you said on the call the other day. We're like, oh, if someone says it, it's a great idea. We have it done by Tuesday. I hope they do that. I sent it to Nat. Said great idea. Hopefully they do it.
Very cool. All right.
Christina's been awfully quiet. Is she okay over there? I'm worried.
I know. Christina left like 30 minutes ago. She's fine. She's been a little bit under the weather.
Oh, she's sneezing.
Yeah. She's been a little bit under the weather. I think she got it from me because I was under the weather about a week ago. So.
Dude, I feel like this shit is just like circling around because I've had it 3 times this winter. My daughter had it 3 times. Whatever it is, like sniffles and all that crap, it keeps going around.
Dude, diseases have definitely gotten worse. Diseases have gotten worse. And like,
But you're going
we're just gonna,
to games all the time. You're surrounded by people.
yeah, fucking people. But we're gonna need to build up our collective immune systems again.
And my kids are like in full blown like school, like all the time. So
Germ factories.
germ factory.
Petri dishes. Okay. Mad City Collector says, when you say somebody got me. All right, he says, when you say the hobby needs more collectors who have good day jobs and spend their large disposable income and copious free time collecting cards, aren't you describing dentists?
Boom. What you gonna say about that, boy?
You got me. The hobby needs more dentists, damn it.
Dude, if you get Chris to admit that you got him, well done. You should give yourself a round of applause.
You got me, Mad City Collector. I secretly am a dentist advocate.
Dude, you just know that when he hit send on that post, comment, whatever, he's just sitting there like, oh, yeah, I'm good. This motherfucker. He's like, this motherfucker don't.
He's like, gotcha. Gotcha. All right. Lights, Camera, Action says, people get excited about their mail days. I don't know why he put it in quotation. Tell me
He's
I'm
Gary
not...
V. Mail days.
He's like, oh, you guys in your mail days.
Gary, the quotes are closer together. He like does them like a claw. They're not that far apart. They're pretty close.
Okay. Tell me, he goes, tell me I'm not weird for having mail days every day. So is it weird to have mail days every day?
Seems impossible. Like, I'm pretty sure post office doesn't deliver on Sunday. So what now?
Ooh. Now he got you.
UPS delivered on Sundays.
Oh, Christina is back.
She heard that one. She's arisen.
Is back. All right. Goat Collector says, will you die with your collection or will you sell it before you die? And the poll results, when I put this to the story, were about 50-50.
50-50. Oh, God. I was going to say this is the hardest question of the night, and that proves it. 50-50.
By the way, like, you don't take it with you, by the way. It doesn't get buried with you. It passes on to your heirs. So there's no taking it with you.
The question is basically like, when I'm 80, would I rather use the money from my cards to spend it on myself and do something, or just like die with the value? It's the same as like, would I want to die with money in my checking account, right? Isn't that the same kind of question?
I could see you taking it that way.
Where it's like, should I spend all my money or let my heirs have that monetary value? I'll probably die with them.
Nice.
You thought I was going the other way?
I don't know. I didn't know what I was expecting. I just was like kind of zoned, just thinking, and I'll die with them. It just made me laugh. I don't know why.
Just like the dramatic effect of the shortness of it.
Yeah.
Fucking bury me with my cards.
Look, I mean, the dream is the Dr. Thomas Newman, where you just have a $25 million collection and you just enjoy it and you ride it out, and you pass away, and then your family sells it and gets $25 million.
I have this really funny thing that I thought of tonight. I'm really clever, so listen to this. You know how people are like, a lot of people are focused on turning their cards into more money.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just like a thing, right? You're sort of using cards as like this avenue or this vehicle to turn it into more money so you can. And then I was thinking, I need money. You need money to survive. You need money to pay for bills and food and stuff. But I want cards. And who the fuck wants to do something that you need? It's more fun to do things you want. I want the cards more than I need the money. Does that make sense?
100%.
The money is boring. Like, the money is just it's like, oh, wow, now I have security and food. That's boring. I don't want that. I want cards.
Live on the edge and have a good collection.
Exactly. And then if you're going to go that route, just fucking bury me with them, you know?
We're about turning money into cards rather than turning cards into
like dentists.
Yeah. All right.
Well, you're basically a dentist now, right? How are my teeth looking?
I don't know. Maybe you could come into the office and pay me to give you a filling, and then I could
pay you a lot of money, like too much money,
and I can get some more cards. Okay. Iowa Dave says, "Have you ever bought a card just because you thought it was weird or funny or interesting? For example, I recently bought a card of the San Diego Chicken mascot, and it was the best $2 I've ever spent on the hobby." Well, listen here, Iowa Dave. We're not going to let you pump the San Diego Chicken mascot card on our platform.
You know what card I thought of that isn't like Cal Ripken's brother where the bat head says fuckface on it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or like collecting cards of players named Dick.
Now there's a PC I can get behind.
No, I have no interest in this. None.
No, me neither. Christina does have a Santa Claus card. Oh, you don't? Never mind.
That's an investment, bro.
Oh, right. My bad. Okay. Tasty Card Sandwich says, "Isn't it weird that they did not make PMGs for 1997 Metal Universe Baseball? Does anybody know why?"
Like no reds and greens?
Correct.
Because baseball's stupid?
That's the answer to a lot of questions. But they did have PMGs the next year, and sometimes that's just how it rolled. Like with the 90s designs and the sets and stuff, like they test it out with basketball or football, and then they do it in baseball or vice versa.
Yeah, I don't think the answer is that at the time, I'm sure Gene would tell you this, like they didn't know that it would become this thing like it is today, so they didn't necessarily think like, hey, we need to make sure we do it for every sport because it's going to have a ton of importance, and we need to make sure they, like you said, they were testing it. They're like, let's test it on basketball and football. You know, we won't do it for baseball. We'll just kind of slow roll it. That's definitely what happened.
Wasn't 97 baseball actually the first product? Because basketball was 97, 98.
Don't know.
I thought it was first.
Maybe it didn't.
Maybe they weren't ready for it until basketball came around after the fact.
Yeah, maybe they didn't.
That idea.
Yeah, maybe they didn't even think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was more thinking was like because
Timing.
97 metal baseball has really cool designs.
It does. It does.
So like it could have been like, oh look, it's popular, but how can we make it even more popular? Or I don't know. It's not popular right now, but
you know what? To the question asker, message Arena Design Official on Instagram.
yeah, Gina will talk to you about it.
How about that?
Dude, she designed one of the PSA magazine covers, right? The Jordan one.
Yep.
Dude, fucking such a sick design.
Super sick.
I got my LeBron one today, and it's not the special edition.
This one?
Oh, is everyone getting the LeBron one? I thought I was cool.
I don't know.
But apparently, 100 of those are black and white.
Yeah, I like how they're doing that. You like that?
Dude, of course. Are you kidding me? That's so sick. You keep them sealed? Oh, you collector, you? Dude, are you about to find the next asset class?
I'm about to start grading these motherfuckers. We're gonna start the magazine grading company.
Those are cool though. I think all those designs are sick. I like looking through those magazines though.
Oh damn! I'm told, and the producer in my ear says PSA already grades magazines. Damn.
The producer in my ear.
Unless you guys can hear that too, I don't know.
Nope. That's Christina screaming at you.
All right. It's KQ says, please discuss how Damian Lillard was snubbed by Stephen Curry as a starter in the All-Star game.
Well, you posted it. Show us a picture of that.
Well, I don't want to move my phone and like risk my connection to just absolutely die. So,
But he's like fourth in EPM, right?
fourth in EPM, which is very impressive. Yeah, he did get snubbed. He definitely got snubbed. There's no doubt about it.
How many games did he miss? How many games has he missed though, injury-wise?
Fair question.
Well, probably less than Curry though. He missed a lot of games.
Curry missed a ton of games. How many games has Lillard played? This is the type of AI I like. I like stat news. Okay.
Yeah, that's true. Come on, ChatGPT, give me the facts.
Lillard has played 36 games this season, which is not a ton. Stephen Curry has played 34.
Whoa, hey-oh.
And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who you could argue maybe got snubbed as well, has played 45.
Dude, I like how Lillard just very quietly dropped a 60 burger the other night.
On like 21 of 29 field goals, which is very
Wasn't it like the highest?
highest true shooting percentage in a 60-point game ever.
Took Kobe 50 shots.
Oh no, we doing that? All right.
I'll do it, man. You guys freaking DM me enough to get me fired up for months on this topic. Post your videos, your inspirational quotes of Kobe, and post your, inspirational videos of him talking about how the job's not done. I'll keep posting stats.
Nice. Because you're a math teacher.
Math teachers aren't good at sports. Did you know this?
You don't know ball. How many hours have you sat on your couch and watched basketball? That's what I really need to know.
So you prefer to listen to the math teacher analyze your sports on podcasts versus the ex-athlete, right?
I don't listen to any ex-athlete podcasts.
Yeah. Richard Jefferson and Kendrick Perkins just speak from eye test. That's all they do.
Correct.
They're like the two worst.
I would not put them on the same footing. I like Richard Jefferson.
Yeah, but he's pretty much eye test as well.
Yeah, he is. No, he's eye test. I like Perk sometimes too. But they're not. When I want to learn things about basketball, I'm not going to them.
Which is ironic because they play basketball.
They played it at the highest level.
Yeah, but the people who do can't always teach.
Ah, there it is.
What
Christina says?
did she say?
She says the people who do can't always teach.
Look at Jason Kidd.
Look at Jason Kidd.
Plus, when you were talking about Perkins shitting on Aiden, I was like, didn't you suck?
Yeah, that's a small point as well. Those
Didn't you
in flat top.
suck more than Aiden? Did Perkins ever score 20 points ever?
Right. Yeah. No, we need to turn with the gambling culture. It needs to get dialed back. Dial it back.
Well, there's a difference between the gambling analyst versus the person who's caught up gambling and just shit talking on the internet.
Good distinction. Casual gamblers need to dial it back.
There you go.
All right. Card Gems 23 says, my son is 8, and his generation seems to be obsessed with Pokemon cards, and they dream about owning a Charizard First Edition one day. Do you think this could greatly impact the sports card market when their generation reaches our age?
Oh, I have such a good answer for this.
Let's go. Let's hear it.
What's the most expensive card to ever sell? Mantle, really? That's interesting. I'm pretty sure nobody that is collecting was there to watch him play.
Facts.
This is my favorite stance that I'll never get off, and I'm always going to be right. The older something gets, and just because the generation phases out of it, the older it gets, the more appreciated it becomes. The more the first of something, the older the thing, like the more it seems that the value goes up. What's the hottest thing right now? Vintage baseball and basketball cards, right?
True.
How is that possible? None of us were alive. Most of us weren't alive. Like why are we buying this stuff if we didn't have an appreciation for it? Why is it getting better with age?
Enough said. All right. Joshua's Cards says, why is the NFL green PMG market pumping?
Is it?
I don't know. I mean, those cards are doing well. They're definitely doing well. One went into the six figures not that long ago. Maybe with Jerry Rice.
Didn't Reggie White get relisted and do much worse?
They very well may have.
I mean, usually when something that rare pops off, it's kind of like, well, it's so rare that they happen to be selling more, and we just think they're popping off because they're selling.
True. Very true. Also, they're cool cards. They're maybe the best card available outside of Gem Master 1-of-1s for 90s football players. So,
yep.
All right.
They're out of 15 though instead of 10.
Yes, indeed. All right. J.R. Crane Sports says, will Burrow's contenders rookie ticket prices catch Mahomes with a win?
Did you listen to the Simmons pod from the other day?
Probably.
Well, they were dancing around the topic a little bit of is Burrow better than Mahomes? You know what I mean? They were kind of talking about it.
Yes, I did hear that. Yep.
Or I think they were saying if Burrow wins tomorrow.
Yeah.
Sunday.
And but they know that they can't say Burrow's better because there's no numbers to support that. So then they just kind of reframe it as if Burrow wins, is the AFC his conference now?
Right.
And football's a team sport.
No, yes.
And that defensive coordinator that the Bengals got has done a nice job of slowing down the Chiefs' offense. So,
has he?
He's done a nice enough job. I think he's helped the
second half of one game. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, what's that thing we were talking about last week where the pricing of all these factors are already kind of priced into everything. If it were to be, then his prices would be the same. They're not. Mahomes is a more exciting, better prospect. His cards are more valuable.
Yeah.
Just the way it is.
Well, it's win what? If Mahomes wins this weekend, or if Burrow wins this weekend, or if Burrow wins the Super Bowl.
Plus, aren't you on the side of? I know you are, but it's are we really going to change everything we know about the hobby based off one game where one of the players has a high ankle sprain? It's am I really going to reframe everything I think about Mahomes from one game?
Well, he was out there trotting around, so going about 2 miles an hour.
So he doesn't have a high ankle sprain? Shouldn't I know? Shouldn't they be saying that?
I listened to people talk about this. They're oh, Mahomes, he was out there. Dude, I went and I watched the video. He's trotting around at 2 miles an hour.
Oh, okay.
And he's
okay. I thought you were gonna say he's looking good.
No, he's not. He's not running. He's not breaking out into wind sprints. He's trotting around. He's just barely above a fast walk.
Yeah, but Benjamin Solak's probably my favorite on the Ringer. I know you like him too, right?
I do. He's good.
He was talking about a lot about this, and he was talking about how the Chiefs are going to move into this check down mode this weekend, and that's right in Mahomes' wheelhouse. And Mahomes has really good pocket awareness, right? And he's really good at sort of maneuvering, and he doesn't have to run all the time. So I still think Mahomes has a pretty decent shot of winning this game, even though he's obviously hurt. So we can't just necessarily say, oh, if he loses, we can't just give him a pass, because I still think he's good enough to win this game.
Yeah, there's nuance there. The nuance is that he won't have been at his best, but he would have been deemed healthy enough to play, and the only reason he would play is if there was a real belief that they could win with him playing. So
Yes.
they still believe that he could win, even though it won't have been Mahomes at full strength. But, like, the Mahomes argument also takes a hit because, like, he was at full strength the other 3 times and still lost.
I was kind of rooting for the Bengals tomorrow, and I picked them, but this is pissing me off. I'm going to start rooting for Mahomes.
Well, dude, the way the line has moved on that game is crazy.
Yeah, it's going back and forth, right?
Now the Chiefs are 2-point favorites again. Before Wednesday's thing, the Bengals were 2.5-point favorites.
Yeah, which is what I thought it would stay at because of the injury.
Right.
So now, because of this trotting video, people think that they're 4-point swing with Mahomes' health?
Dude, but some of this is market manipulation. Like, I was listening to Warren Sharp and Joe House's podcast, which I love theirs, on NFL gambling. And Sharp was explaining that, like, big betting groups were moving those lines back and forth based on where they thought value was. So.
Right. Yeah, usually, like, the line when it initially gets set is based off of, like, the research that Vegas does, but after that, the line kind of moves based on where the betting action goes, right?
Definitely. Exactly right. And
So it's not like Vegas is sitting there, like, changing it manually. Like, they're reacting based on where the money's going.
exactly. Here's my final answer on this topic. Even if Joe Burrow wins this weekend, even if he wins the Super Bowl and he gets Super Bowl MVP, I, as a collector, would not pay the same amount for a Joe Burrow card as I would the equivalent Mahomes card. Because Mahomes will have the Super Bowl as well, and he'll have 5 straight AFC Conference Championship appearances, and he'll have, half a dozen seasons with one of the top 50 QBRs, and
2 MVPs.
He'll have 2 MVPs and 2 Super Bowl appearances, which Burrow will have as well, and 1 win, which Burrow would have as well. So Burrow still has a lot of ground to make up, even if. And, look, Burrow's, passing numbers, his estimated points added per play, his total QBR, they're good. They're not historic the way that Mahomes' are. They're not as good as Josh Allen's. They're not as good as Jalen Hurts. And maybe they will get to that level. One of the things that's really impacting his EPA per play is that he gets sacked a lot. But, Burrow needs to show me measurables that are on par with a Mahomes or a Josh Allen before I start categorizing those players together.
Fair enough.
Sasha P. Cards says, another strong showing by Signed Vintage, breaking records in Heritage's Thursday night auction. Is the hobby finally getting over the stigma of in-person autographs? Demand for these true low-pop cards continues to soar.
Oh, man. He probably should have put in the asterisk that he actively collects that stuff just for future reference. So he should always do that.
I don't think he needed to. I think you can tell that from the question.
Yeah, we all know. I did see some of those. I saw the Mickey Mantle one. I thought that was kind of a neat card. There was a 52 tops PSA 2 with a 10 auto on card Mantle. I thought that was kind of neat. In general, I don't care for the IP autos, but there's obviously some cases where it's pretty sick.
Yeah. To the question asker's point, there's clearly people who care about this and have cared about it. There's people who collect it. There's people who think it's cool. And, there's a real market and a real collector base for this stuff. For me, it does nothing. This does nothing for me. I don't like the meddling of aftermarket additions onto my cardboard.
Yeah. So
that's my personal take as a collector. And I also have to have that take because I need to keep my interests narrow, So, I'm not trying – I can't get excited about everything. But, I don't want to take that away from people who are excited about it and who are happy that, great prices are being realized for these cards. That's great. I'm glad to hear it.
I really like what South Park Card said. Said in-person autographs for guys who never had licensed autographs are going up. I'm gonna leave out the next part. But the Paul Pierce 2006 Fleer base signed isn't worth anything and never will be. So it's like it's contextual, right? For a Mickey Mantle or a Bill Russell card. Bill Russell's not a good example because he's got a ton of licensed ones. Like players that are older and they don't have licensed cards, if you can get on-card autos of them in person, and that's the only way you could get an autograph card of them, that makes it a lot more interesting.
Definitely. All right. 515 Sports Card says, in past crossover discussions and on other podcasts, it's been discussed that the same estimated amount of money is spent each month on cards. Are we able to quantify the number of buyers each month? I'd be curious if that number is also consistent. What are your thoughts?
We can never know like the unique buyers, right? A lot of them are private, but we know the number of sales.
True.
Let me look that up because it's like if the total volume is the same, but the number of buyers is going down, that means that the price of each average item is going up.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Let me look at that real quick. Hold on. No, they kind of follow each other. Like the volume right now is going down a little bit. It's like pretty consistent, but it's going down like 5% a month kind of thing. And then like the average cost per item is following kind of the same trajectory.
Okay. So nothing indicating that like the number of buyers is going up or down. There is something to indicate that it might be going down.
Yeah, it's kind of following the same like slight downward trajectory of total volume.
But we have no idea how many buyers. I would love to know how many buyers exist in the market, but we have no idea. Oh, all right. 3 questions on a similar topic. Chaz Pennysleeve says, is Zero Cool continuing to delay their Stranger Things set, as well as the quality control issues from 2022 Topps Finest Baseball? Is this making you concerned at all about how Fanatics is handling their card division? And then the Spirit of Cardboard says, what's up with Zero Cool? Not exactly sports cards, I suppose. So, like, they're saying, we know you guys talk about sports cards, but I'm still curious if you have takes on Zero Cool. And then Art Connoisseur says, is a well-centered Topps update card or Josh Luber harder to find these days? Ooh, zing.
So, did they never release the Stranger Things set?
I don't know. I haven't followed that whatsoever. I have no clue.
That was like discussed. That was like revealed at National. That's been a long time.
I saw posts about it.
Mm-hmm.
What'd she say?
Yeah, I don't know. She says it was delayed recently based on a post that she recently saw about it.
I haven't heard much from Zero Cool, to be honest, in a long time.
Yeah, same. I just have nothing much to offer here, but like clearly people care about the Zero Cool products. They're concerned about it, and about Josh Luber, and they're wondering what these entities are up to. So if anybody's listening, people are curious and would like an update.
Same as the Panini question that I brought up earlier. Like, you need people in the hobby working for these companies at the understanding the pulse of the hobby and being able to react to this kind of stuff.
It looks like Cave is pushed to the end of February at the earliest.
And it's never. This was the same thing that was announced at National that never released.
I don't know.
Oh my gosh. South says Netflix had to jump in and offer refunds.
Okay. Mike Pinkerton 50 says, did Gary V's comments last night help or hurt the hobby? Referring to Gary V's appearance on Sports Cards Live with Jeremy Lee.
I don't think it did anything.
Yeah, I don't think they're moving the needle either way, to be completely honest with you. So.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, he just kind of said what everyone's been saying. Every influencer hobby market update's kind of been the same. Could go up, it could go down. I could see another 30% correction down to continue, and then it'll eventually find its bottom and go up, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I don't think that appearance or any one person's comments are moving a hobby needle, at least not in any meaningful long-term way. So
that's because one person can't move the needle, or we're just like, as a hobby, over hearing the same stuff over and over?
It's because the people who meaningfully move things in a sustainable long-term fashion are not reacting to the opinions of any one influencer or person or group.
So you're not going to stop buying cards based on that? That's what you're saying?
Not going to stop or start.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to stop or start. Because Gary Vee was talking about he's very excited about the National. He's still buying cards. He's just doing it quietly. He doesn't want to make any splashes or create any negativity or toxicity surrounding his discussions of cards, so he's just withdrawn, but he still loves it. He's still engaging with it just privately, and that just has no impact. Especially not, like, we have enough years of a sample size to understand that even if a viral piece of internet content temporarily impacts the prices of one item or multiple items, it's never sustainable.
Yeah.
And those are the places where, like we were talking about MK Sports Cards and Grant Slayton earlier. If we went to one of those guys and we said, hey, Gary Vee's been privately buying cards. How is this impacting your collecting outlook? Yeah. It's not. It's not moving the needle at all.
Yeah. I was thinking about how, like, last year people were getting in this mania of, like, dude, what if everybody had a portion of their financial portfolio in sports cards? Literally everybody. Like, your grandma knew about it, and, like, people move money out of their 401k into sports cards, and that just became, like, a thing, and that's kind of like the excitement we were all building up to of everyone's going to be doing this, That just doesn't seem, like, reasonable in any sense. It just seems so ridiculous to think that, like, my neighbor across the street would randomly be like, hey, I started investing in sports cards. And I'm like, why? Do you like it? No, I just, that's like what you do now. And I'm like, is it? That seems really odd.
Exactly.
That's not what they did with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency.
That's when I got very nervous about Bitcoin, was when random people I went to high school with who I hadn't heard from in 20 years are suddenly making their first Facebook post in ages, talking about their Bitcoin portfolio on Coinbase. and that's why I was like, okay, you want to sign that the top is in? There you go.
Right.
There you go. All right. Mike Pinkerton 50 with another question. Does Aaron Rodgers' card value go up if he goes to the New York Jets?
Just temporarily, maybe like a slight boost for the excitement.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe temporarily. Yeah. And people will use that they'll find an excuse to get excited for a little while. But all right, Goose Card says, on a level from 1 to 10, how excited should Oklahoma City fans be for Chet Holmgren next season? Hard to know, Goose, because I've only watched Chet play in NBA Summer League, and he was pretty good. But Summer League good does not make NBA good. And it's just hard to know how good he would be in the NBA setting. So we're going to have to wait and see. And it's hard to know how his injury is going to impact him as well. I do know that it would have been fun to watch him battle with the prohibitive Rookie of the Year favorite Paolo Banchero this year. It would have been cool if Chet could have given him a run for his money. Matherin the betting lines suggest that Matherin has no chance. Like, Banchero's like a minus 1,200 to win Rookie of the Year.
Wow.
So would have been cool if we got to see him play this year. I don't know. Do you think OKC Van? So like Goose, like on a level 1 to 10, I'm just gonna give you a 5. I'm just gonna split the difference. Like you can be a little excited, but like you don't really know what you're getting yet, and we don't know how developed he's gonna be, how fast he's gonna develop, etc.
I would have said 5. I mean, it would be great if he takes the Embiid path of, missing your first year because of injury and then coming back and being an MVP level player, but we don't know.
Yeah. Embiid got snubbed, by the way. Okay. Late 90s b-ball. Feel free to answer this or not. It is, what does Josh's significant other think about his card collecting?
She thinks it's great.
Okay. Art connoisseur. Will there... We're getting to this point in the show now.
Gotcha. Yeah, you signaled it. I get it.
Will there be a crossover branded cruise this summer on the Caribbean?
We'll call it Sunburnt Island. Return to the sunburn.
Now there's a brand I can be a spokesperson for.
Remember that?
Sunburn Island? No, what's that?
That one time you showed up on crossover and you were just completely red.
Oh yeah, no, when we were in Sheboygan, yeah, tomato.
You know what I always think of when I think of Sheboygan? Sunburning.
Sheboygan's the Malibu of the Midwest.
I was like, you mean when we got back from Florida? No, Sheboygan.
Okay, all right.
Hey, that was a really nice vacation.
That was a great vacation. All right.
I have a request. I want to get sponsored by Chipotle now.
Can you set his sights a little closer to reality?
No, Truly snubbed me, which is bullshit. Now I'm going after a bigger fish.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
What's up with Truly and the stuff? Like Truly should have dedicated an intern to like reach out and send a 24-pack over and like ride high off of this PR. Like how dumb is this company?
I talked to like 50 different people at the Sam Adams Brewing Company, which is the Boston Brewing, whatever it is, that owns Truly, whether they're in the Truly division or other divisions. Like, I could not get anyone to respond to me.
Well, I think you need to now try Chipotle.
Okay.
Maybe Chipotle has wiser people in their marketing department.
I'll try.
Well, they have wiser people at lots of levels because they're like a growing company. Their stock is like still going up.
Mm.
Okay. I have my job for the week.
Shouldn't take you a week.
Man, I love giving Christina unreal expectations. It's really fun.
All right, let's go to the next question. Art Connoisseur says, why are booklets and cards a thing? No real hobby love, and it's painful to display them in their monster slabs.
Is it a thing?
Yeah, you can. Oh, I misread the question. He said, why are booklets and card products a thing? Like, why do they put booklets in boxes of cards?
I have no idea. I think they're silly. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Some of those are cool.
I'm not a fan, but...
I don't collect them, but I like to look at some of them. It's a really cool looking one.
Remember when the Rips had that 16 autograph booklet? It was just 16 LeBron autos. 16 LeBron autos.
Were they stickers?
Yeah, they were stickers, yeah.
If you can't fit the design and the aesthetics of what you're trying to accomplish on a normal size card, you're trying too hard.
Oh, good. There we go. All right. Drake's PC says, as collectors, we love chasing rare and scarce cards. In many cases, though, the only difference between an autographed card of a player is the numbering. So the only difference is it's a 1 of 1, or it's out of 5, or it's out of 10. Do you think the manufacturers need to do a better job of using different photos, etc., to truly distinguish different parallels, similar to what is done with shiny cards?
Is that actually happening? Literally the only difference is the
It must be.
serial
I
number?
have no reference for this, but it must be.
Yeah, that's definitely pretty lazy. You gotta have at least, I mean, we come from the era of like, the parallel looks vastly different from like the green and red to the base to now it's like, okay, the color difference, we can live with that. But if it's like literally no difference, come on.
Dude, the parallel has to look awesome. It has to like make the base card look like a piece of junk.
That's what I 100% agree.
Yeah. The parallel has to be like the superhero version of the base card.
Yeah. Where it's like, God, why would I ever want the base when I know that this other one exists out there?
Exactly. The parallel needs to be badass looking. Okay.
You should be. That was like probably why we laughed so much at the base Prism PSA 10 hype. Is like, these cards suck compared to what else is out there. Why would you want this? There's a gold, you know that, right?
Yeah.
There's one that's literally made of gold, and you want that ugly, plain looking one.
Exactly. All right. BCW Card Break says, this is not a question. Another statement. Maybe we should just turn this into a statement show.
People just want their own crossover.
Next week it should be like, do you have a statement that you'd like to make about cards? And we will read it. All right. Not a question, but to help me fall asleep at night, I count Jordan Fleer rookies in my head. PSA 1 Jordan Fleer rookie. PSA 2 Jordan Fleer rookie, etc. All the while imagining them and their condition. It works like a charm.
That would put me to sleep thinking of that boring card.
Josh doesn't even need to think of the condition or the grade. Just think of the card and he's out.
I can picture every detail of that card. I've seen it so many times.
All right. Andrew Kesey says, does anyone have tips for quicker listing on eBay, or is this just going to be hell?
I think there's like third-party apps. I can't name any because I don't do this, but I know that there's third-party apps out there that you can kind of list on their site, and then it will list on eBay for you.
Use Card Ladder. Take a picture of your card through the search functionality, and then you click on the sale and sales history that matches your card, and you go to eBay and you click sell one like this, and now you can list your card with all the details already provided.
That's
Boom.
There you go. It's a great tip. All right. Timmy D21PC says, have you ever got a card in the mail and immediately hated it in hand? I guess it's time for this question. We get this question every few months. Josh,
Playmakers Theater.
Your answer is Playmakers Theater from 1998, Clear Tradition.
Yep, I said it. You're right.
We may have answered that question once or twice before.
It's the
All right.
second inning.
Cards and Candy 911.
He's back.
Will Josh be in attendance when LeBron breaks Kareem's record?
Oh, I will actually be in Disneyland when he breaks that record.
Oh, no. Maybe he'll come visit.
But Disneyland is in California, and he's on pace to break it at home against Oklahoma City or the Bucks. So I might say, look over there, family, and then run towards the stadium.
Nice. Good old crypto arena.
You're gonna run.
Oh.
You're gonna run like 3.5 hours in LA traffic at the speed of 60 miles per hour.
I didn't know your last name was Buzzkill.
It's also literal. Take everything literal, Miss.
I will run to an Uber. How far is the drive from Anaheim to Crypto.com Arena?
Probably not that far.
No, it's pretty far.
Oh, hilarious. Yeah, I'll be in Disneyland celebrating the Mickey Mouse bubble ring.
Okay, all right. The Hobby's Finest asks, does LeBron's card value already have him breaking career record factors in.
Yes.
What, you mean I can't just like load up on LeBron's right now and then just get rich?
Dude, someone on Facebook is just like a cesspool. Someone posted like 3x comp on a car, and it was like, better buy this before the breaks the record. And then his next sentence was like, I know that I'm way over comps. I don't care. I'll just hold until he breaks the record. Like, how stupid do you think everybody else is? Like, that we don't see this coming.
Yeah. Oh.
He's literally 150 points away. He's gonna break it. We're not stupid.
Collectogram says, are there any sleeper inserts that you find aesthetically pleasing from the last 2 years? It is hard to keep up.
You have to answer this one.
Some of the My Houses look cool. I don't really have a great answer to this because, like, I kind of agree with the question asker. There's so many, and I'm just not focused on inserts as part of my collecting of this era. Just not. So, I don't know. Like, this is one of those questions where it really helps if the question asker has, like, a few that they want to bring up. Just throw in a few that you like, and then...
Tell us the ones you're thinking of.
Exactly. All right. 504 person says, are you pro dentists now? Last week you talked about getting paid and putting money back into the hobby to get it flowing. Yes, I am. You can just sign me up for the board of dentists.
Are you gonna like schedule a cleaning Monday morning?
And you know what? I will, because I know that money's just gonna go back into the hobby anyway.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you're like, this money is gonna come right back to me in like a weird way.
Gotta support the dental industry. All right.
Dude, those guys are picking up Jordan Grails, so we need them.
And just for the record, MK Sports Cards is not a dentist.
He's the guy that reviews the X-rays, I think.
Yes, that's right. He looks at pictures all day, whether it's cards or X-rays. All right, so I've got down to this final question from Brack's Ball Cards.
Oh my God, dude! I exposed him on my post. I was like, I know who you are.
You know who it is?
Yeah. I mean, you told me who you thought it was, and I agree. So I literally go look at my post and see if you can find him, and look at my comment. I said like, "Hey, thanks for the," and I said his name.
I don't actually know if it's him anymore though, but it may be. It may be.
He'll just be like, "What are you talking about?"
All right. Brack's ball. Okay, this is very long.
Yeah, you gotta read all this shit. All right, I'll put the phone on.
I'm gonna read it, and then we're gonna be done. All right. Brack's Ball Cards. Take us home. Bro. Gotta dap you so hard and Mad Dog shout you out for last week's fire epi. First off, you take the opening tip and pass it to your GOAT guests who slam a jamma at home with multiple rim rockin', building knockin', pow jams. I've been screaming from the mountaintops for ages that the hobby needs more marketplaces, more apps, more financially minded investors with Wall Street backgrounds to remind us what really matters. Money, bro. Profits, yo. And finding better, more efficient ways to maximize profit and transparency while seamlessly exchanging assets for capital is the future of the hobby.
He just joined. Bring him on. Invite him on right now. Let's go. He just joined.
How did he just join? Let me finish this first.
He said, bro.
You can invite him, by the way. You're running this.
I'm trying.
Right.
I'm trying.
Shout out to the guests for reminding us what cards really is. Not collectibles or even cards. Assets, bro. Straight up assets. So mad shout out. Deep props to y'all for coming correct. Too much collector-driven propaganda circulating in the hobby to grow the hobby into a sustainable profit machine. Next, I want to rap sesh about y'all's discussion on the term GOAT, aka the single most important word in the hobby discourse outside of maybe asset. Shout out asset. My bros in the Brax Nation deep state sipped cognac, smoked Cubans, and debated this long into the night. I posit that using GOAT in a manner that breaks it up by era is a fallacy. GOAT stands for greatest of all time. All time, bro. That's past, present, and future. All eras now and forever. Therefore, you can't have era-specific GOATs. There can only be one greatest of all time. Unless, thanks to the beauty of language, we can change the spelling from GOAT, G-O-A-T, to GOAT, G-O-T-E. And now we're in business. G-O-T-E equals greatest of their time. Boom. G-O-T-E. I know. I just elevated the game and blew your mind. Stay with me now. Yo boy Brax is the GOAT, G-O-T-E, and honestly, maybe the GOAT, G-O-A-T too. Stay fresh and market-minded, my dudes.
Oh, I invited him, and it says that he's unable to join.
Is he unable or unwilling?
Unwilling. I don't think it's who I think is anymore, because he's on the East Coast, and he would not be up right now.
He would not be up right now. He definitely would not be up right now.
It might just be Lamim.
No, dude. Lamim has never typed that many words in his life. You could put all the words together.
What if it's ChatGPT?
ChatGPT isn't on this level.
You don't think so? What if he said, like, hey, be an investor, bro. Make this content for me.
Should we ask ChatGPT what's an investor, bro?
I don't know, but I invited him up and he declined. So that's a bummer.
Let's start a new chat.
Have you seen that account interact with anyone else except for us?
Not really. Not really.
That's why I think it's someone we know.
All right, so here's what ChatGPT says. I asked, what is an investor, bro? An investor is a person who allocates capital with the expectation of financial return. This can take the form of stocks, bonds, real estate, and other investments. Investors typically aim to grow their wealth over time by carefully selecting and managing their investments. They may also be referred to as bro colloquially, which is short for broker, someone who acts as an intermediary between buyers and sellers of securities. That is not what bro means.
Dude, ChatGPT sucks. They didn't get the context of our hilarious show at all.
I'm going to go on a limb here. ChatGPT does suck.
Dude, ChatGPT is like an automated Google search that gives you the top result. Thanks.
It's fancy Google.
It's not even fancy. It's worse. I want to see them myself.
It's not fancy. You're right. It's not. It's. It's what is it? It's. Let me Google that for you.
Dude, let me give you the top Google result for you.
You know what? I haven't been writing down any episode name ideas.
I thought of the fancy Zoom thing today, and I was like, NFTs are fancy QR codes. Tell me I'm wrong.
Like, do they even have the utility of the QR code?
Because they're like, you know, one of ones, and they're tickets, and you can transfer them. That's what QR codes are.
Correct. Exactly. Yeah, okay, I see where you're going with that. I'm with you.
Fancy? Dude, QR codes and Zoom are the same as Metaverse and NFTs.
Yeah, but branding, bro.
All right, sorry, I derailed you. Titles. We got thrown off because of the whole, me running it, probably.
Yeah, that did knock us off our block a little bit.
Well, we gotta do. I think the title's got to be something about your internet connection. Unfortunately, it's been terrible this whole time.
Yeah.
It's literally, I haven't brought it up because I don't want to, recognize it, but it's been super choppy the whole time.
Yeah, that just sucks. Well, we should head it off the path. So when somebody watches this on YouTube or whatever, they understand that it's not going to look at triple A and Wi-Fi.
That's pretty good right there.
Yeah, what's a good title that's a play on that?
I like Sheboygan. I think Alex has got it. Sheboygan Wi-Fi.
Okay, go with that. But it's not. Here, I'll tell you how it's spelled.
Oh, okay. Oh, shoot, I have to do it.
You do have to do it.
Sheboygan Wi-Fi, is that what we're doing?
We can go with it. I mean, it's okay. You know, I like it. I see where it's going. But, like, I'm not in Sheboygan, so.
Something about, like, how you're better looking now tonight or something?
Yeah. People fucking piled on with that one.
It's so clever. You're better looking now that I can't see you. Because you're ugly, get it?
That was a good one. First 7 times.
Nailed it. Or something about dentists, or how you like the dentist comeback or something?
The dentist comeback.
Like the acceptance of the dentist?
It's a good thought. This is why I got Stiff Arm Wax wasn't on tonight, and
What's he doing? Does he have a life?
yeah, he got a life. God damn it. He keeps us on the straight and narrow and writing down titles.
Yeah, you're right. What if we dial up? JP3 card says dial up days. Something about dial up internet.
Yeah, I see where it's going. You know, I mean, I can't play. I don't have a direct quote for it. I've gotten so picky with these fucking episodes. I need it to be like a quote from the episode.
Yeah, you're right. We can't just like make a funny title at the end.
No, exactly. You know, it has to be a callback to like something that was said.
What was last week?
What was last week? Let's see here. I'm gonna go to the cross ladder feed. I mean the card ladder feed. Oh, last week was called I Snipe Liquidity.
Oh yeah. I was gonna start this week's show with how much I learned about sniping liquidity and binary risk.
By the way, the BWIC round 1 ended tonight, and I asked Marino how it went. He said it went pretty well. He said like there was a few bumps, but like it went pretty well so far.
Good, like technology bumps.
Yep. I don't know what type of bumps, but there's some bumps.
You know what? I think it has to be something about the Wi-Fi because people are going to watch this, and if they see the title, it'll give them it'll kind of soften the blow.
I like the Wi-Fi. Some people in the chat were saying something about like Mark Cuban is stealing the Wi-Fi, which I like.
That's pretty good because you're by the stadium.
Exactly.
Let's call it Mark Cuban stole my Wi-Fi.
Oh, that's good. That's great.
Or ChatGPT wrote this title. Oh, that's pretty good too. God.
That is pretty good. Oh, how about I ask ChatGPT, what should I title my Instagram live stream about sports cards and Wi-Fi?
Alex, that one's pretty good. ChatGPT wrote our title. That's really funny.
ChatGPT says we should call it Unboxing Sports Cards and Wi-Fi Tips, a live stream event.
Oh, look at that. They had the word Wi-Fi in there. What if we say, like, ChatGPT stole my Wi-Fi?
Nice. I like that.
Oh, I said that. AA Collectibles, I literally did not steal that from you. I said it at the same time. He had the exact same title as me. ChatGPT stole my Wi-Fi.
Go with that. That's good.
All right.
Alrighty. Peace.
See you next week.
A lot has changed since Card Ladder began. We started with 500 cards in our database, and now we have over 3 million cards and over 30 million sales.
For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up.
With Card Ladder's sales history feature, we have virtually every card in our system. If the card you are looking for ever sold on one of these platforms, you can find it using Card Ladder's sales history, and you can add a card to your collection with just one click.
My time, none of you people can tell me to stop!
Plus, every card, no matter the last time it's sold, has an estimated value that we calculated using our state-of-the-art player indexes. Unlike other apps, when you see Card Ladder's verified checkmark, that means a researcher personally vetted each and every sale.
We know what it takes to be reaching the top!
We know what you want, because Card Ladder was created by collectors for collectors.
Know what it takes to be reaching the top!
Join the innovators, not the imitators. Card Ladder 2.0, constantly innovating. Try it for free. See why Card Ladder is the industry leader in sports card data.
We know what it takes to be reaching the top!
Card Ladder 2.0.